is Ross Levanto. I'm a Senior Vice President at Schwartz Communications, and I want to welcome back to Schwartz Sam Whitmore. He's the founder of Media Survey, which is an invaluable resource for PR professionals. Sam, welcome back to Schwartz.
Thank you.
And we want to take a couple minutes today just to ask you about some trends that are happening within the media universe. Your website, your publication, Media Survey, is a great outlet for monitoring and watching what's happening in the media universe, both from the standpoint of the professional media and also media that's created by companies nowadays, from bloggers, and also media that people pay for. So last week, it was a new milestone for me in my life because I am now a New York Times subscriber.
Aha, that's why the stock went up.
That's right. My $9 a month is making a huge difference. No doubt it'll appear on some of their analyst calls without question. But we see a new model emerging from NewYorkTimes.com, which is some content is free and some content they're paying for. And I know you were somewhat involved with the launch of the new service, and I was interested in your perspective on what the New York Times is doing.
I did do one very brief bit of consulting regarding the rollout of the paywall and how that should be handled, but there were many chefs stirring that broth, believe me. But you know, the New York Times is an international brand, and it's also a local brand. And in my opinion, most importantly, they're trying to preserve the print franchise. It's very profitable. And they have pressure locally from the New York Post, sort of from the bottom up, if you will. They also have new pressure from a consumer Wall Street Journal. Because traditionally that was all about Wall Street. That's why they call it the Wall Street Journal. But it's really a lifestyle newspaper now. And it's made some inroads against the Times. So the Times wants to figure out, A, how can we continue to have our electronic footprint, but also can we use it as a reinforcement for our franchise in print?
And what have you seen in terms of the feedback to the model that they have now, in terms of, I guess it's 20 articles per month for free, and then after that you have to subscribe? What are your thoughts about that? Do you think it's going to play out well? Or?
There are pundits who say, oh, we can break that because it's just cookie-based or 4 lines of JavaScript can nuke it. But the fact is that the New York Times is an international franchise. And we also live in a world where subscriptions are totally comfortable to us. We subscribe to our wireless phone, we subscribe over the internet, we can pay our bills every month without even really knowing what the sum is because you set up auto pay. So the world is ready for the New York Times to just be another line item on your home banking statement, and what the heck, you know? And
it's cheaper than subscribing to the print edition, so
yes,
presumably.
And I think I read today that they have this 50% off introductory offer. So that's hard to beat.
I got it, 99 cents for the first couple weeks, so there you go. So,
even if the New York Times succeeded wildly with this paywall thing, the amount of money that it's actually going to make is a pittance compared to the scope of all the revenues, because it makes hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It owns About.com.
It owns the Boston Globe.
It does.
Even though it's trying to.
Much to its chagrin.
Yes, yes.
But the fact is, it's also a union shop. All right, so they have big top line, but also they have huge costs. And if they really wanted to make a lot of money, in my opinion, they would re-examine, do we really need 1,100 editors or whatever the figure is? It's just an enormous, like compared to TechCrunch or somebody like that has like 10. And that's a big deal. It's like they're overstaffed, so they need, in my opinion, to both raise top line, but also look at their costs.
Do you see other newspapers rushing to follow the New York Times model? Or are we going to see a wave of other publications that offer this kind of dual approach to offering content and having people pay for it?
I don't know if it's a wave. It might be a ripple. I think that they have to be really careful about because newspapers come from an era when media was local and it served a local geographical area. The Boston Globe is called that. Why?
Well, supposedly they write about Boston.
But a lot of people, I mean, you can be anywhere in the world. So the newspapers not only have to think about, well, we have to protect our sort of local identity because we still have trucks and printing presses, but also they have this great opportunity to be a global voice, like SF Gate out west. Is sort of a voice of Silicon Valley, and that's read overseas, and so they have to be careful to not walk away from that leadership opportunity, I think. So I don't know. What's left, really, in newspapers? Washington Post, San Francisco Chronicle, the Tribune, Miami Herald.
The nationals and the big regionals.
Yeah. Now compare that versus 1,000 flowers blooming in blogs and the social network. So I think we're talking about a legacy part of our world, and the 20-somethings and 30-somethings that watch this, they don't care either way about the New York Times.
Right.
They don't.
Right. Now, fundamentally, we're talking about charging for some content and getting some content for free. And in the realm where I spend my professional life, which, as you know, is the B2B technology arena.
Me too.
We've seen similar types of models emerge. We've talked in previous visits about Information Week, how they have content for free through informationweek.com, and then they have what is kind of like a pseudo-analyst capacity through their Information Week analytics offerings, which you then purchase or can buy a subscription to. GigaOM has a similar model with GigaOM, the actual blog website, and then GigaOM Pro, which is their analyst capacity. What's your thoughts in terms of that changing landscape? Have we seen success of those dual models, and what do you anticipate in the coming months?
Limited success. It takes a long time for people to get over the abrasion of reading 75 words, and then there's this nasty button that said, oh, you'd like to read more? Then pay up.
Credit card.
That's
yes.
an abrasion. But the premium content, I guess you could call it freemium, is working because it's really 3 stages. There's the free website at Information Week and GigaOM. Then there's, as you say, Information Week Analytics and GigaOM Pro. Those are the paid. But the real money is in face-to-face events, and it's 3 tiers. It's the front door, or another metaphor is top of the funnel, and you get everybody in and get some affiliation with the brand, with the name. So if I'm into Information Week, that means probably I'm not into computer world as much. And then you've got this intellectual thought leadership stuff that isn't really that expensive. I mean, GigaOM Pro research annually is like $79. You could get a few New York Times for that maybe, but that's still 2 digits, big deal.
Right.
And you can probably write it off if you're in business. But really, they want you to go to the events and pay $2,000. And that's the business model that's emerging in the trades. That's why you're seeing everybody lining up, like Mashable and all these people have their big event. TechCrunch, Disrupt. That's the end game, because then you can sell sponsorships and, so that's sort of where we see it going.
Well, it was great to have you stop by, Sam, and thank you so much for taking some time on camera on short notice and
Thanks,
giving us your
Ross.
thoughts on what's happening. And Media Survey is a site that I visit every day, and I think I can speak for a lot of PR pros in thanking you for providing an invaluable service to us. So.
Thank you, sir.
And my name is Ross Levanto. You can read more on our blog on the Schwartz website. It's called Crossroads.